What is going on, all my fellow TMNT figure collectors out there at YouTube land? Revolution Hell Cowboy here, and this is my review of Breakfightin Raphael from the Wacky Action Turtles, which was a variant, from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line by Playmates Toys in 1989 to 1990. Well, I mean, the line ran through 88 through 96, but the Wacky Action line was only 3 waves, with the first wave being released in 89, which had Raphael, along with Donatello, Michelangelo, and a Mouser. Second wave was Leonardo, Splinter and Shredder, and the final wave was Bebop and Rocksteady. And for those of you who didn't know how those worked, or you missed my previous reviews, which I have reviewed Leonardo, Donatello, and Michelangelo, links are in the description. These are the ones that actually wind it up, or you press the button, they did a crazy action feature of some kind. So anyways, this will be my last Wacky Action Turtle review, at least for now, since I only have the 4 turtles from the Wacky Action variant. I don't have Shredder, Splinter, Bebop, Rocksteady, or the Mouser. But when I do get them, I'll review them. But like I said, if you want to see Leo, Don, and Mike, their reviews are down in the description, along with any other TMNT reviews I've done so far. So, let's get into the review. As you can see, it's just typical Raphael. Isn't really anything special. He's not wearing any special clothing, which, they wear clothing in some variants, but this one's just, just a little different than what they looked like in the original 1988 line. I mean, there's some similarities and some differences, typical red bandana, red elbow pads, wristbands, same black belt with the little holsters, or whatever you want to call them, for his size, red knee pads. In the back, it's got that little compartment for him to put that digger weapon, which, if you had the original line of TMNT figures, which are being released, by the way, if you guys didn't know by now, too bad these aren't being released, but then again, not everybody's going to want them. At least, I don't know if all collectors will want these, unless you love the original TMNT line and you collect them regardless of action features. Otherwise, I don't know how many collectors would really want these, unless you're really serious about these. So I could mention a few similarities to what his 1988 figure looked like. Differences, well, face. Like the original 88 figure had more of an angry look. Well, this one's a little more, I'd say happy, but more of a happy, like I'm ready to kick your ass kind of happy, He looks kind of mad, but happy at the same time. I guess sadistic kind of look on his face. Raphael being the badass, the tough guy, being the hothead, I mean, he's ready to kick some butt, right? And then he's got the pupils in his eyes, which the original 88 figures did not have them, but these ones did. I mean, then there were a few other lines, variants, that they did have pupils in their eyes, whether it be based on a movie or based on the cartoon, or just other times they decide not, do wide-out eyes. But other than that, got the pupils in his eyes, and the big old smile on his face, like I say, trying to kick some butt. On his belt, the 88 figure had a yellow R. This one has a red R to match up his bandana, which I thought that was pretty cool, that they matched, the letters for their names along, the colors of their bandana. So that was pretty cool instead of just going straight yellow. The green, well, it's typical Raphael green, the skin color he's always had in the vintage line. This one seems a little bit glossier, but I don't know if it's really this light. It looks light on camera, but I look away from the camera and it looks a little bit darker, so it's maybe a slight bit darker than what the 88 figure looked like, and then later on when they just did different variants. I noticed that all the figures look a little bit glossier than they should. Maybe a little bit darker or so, but that's just, I don't know, that's just how they look to me. So anyways, then look at the figure. So now let's get into the articulation. Unlike his brothers, which their action feature mostly affected their body parts, so it kind of make their articulation a little bit different. His articulation is about standard to what the TMNT figures had back in the 80s. Just movement at the head, shoulders, the wrists, and at the hips. Even though they don't really move out like they're supposed, like the other figures would, but at least they move. So if it weren't for the button here, you wouldn't be able to tell this is one of the Wacky Action figures. The only difference, though, compared to the other ones, we put it on the belt, and he's got this on his back. Now that might kind of be an eyesore if you take the belt off, but of course, like I said, it's the Wacky Action, variant of Raphael, Breakfightin Raphael. So there's a reason why that's back there. So get to his accessories. First, we got these weapons here. This one, I don't know the name of it because I don't have the packaging for this figure. I bought this figure, out of the package on eBay. So, what the hell if I knew what it was? I could always put an annotation up later to say what this weapon's called. But it's like it has a couple of, shuriken on it. And I believe that one goes on the foot. This one, I believe can go in either one of his hands. And it's got, 2 rats on it. It's got some spikes. And finally, this goes on his back. It's got some sticker detail, looks like there's some ooze, there's some flies. It's like got some all sorts of little tools on it. So to make this action feature work, we gotta first take the belt off, which I know as a kid I only had a few of the TMNT figures with belts, and I had a tendency to lose the belts. And I know a lot of kids did. If you were one of those kids who grew up in the 80s that probably did take care of your figures and kept the belts, well, you got a rare figure, because I go to a lot of flea markets and I look online and I see figures missing their belts, and the ones with their belts seem to be a lot more expensive, which is understandable because those belts come off very easily. So anyways, put this on his back. You put this one in either hand, to go in the left hand, go in the right hand, doesn't really matter. Now this one could go in his hand too, but from what I've seen in other people's reviews, this goes on the foot. If I can grab it, I launched it. We'll just put it on this foot right here. I mean, I guess it can go in either one, but I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter. And this is the only ones they had. I don't think there were any more. I thought there should be 2 of these. And by the way, I didn't mention this. If you had some sides later on, you could always store some sides in there, and honestly, I think those would work pretty good well, But anyways, we'll move this figure back. Start pressing the button on the side. Press it a few times. And watch him spin. Doesn't really work the best. I really hate to say this, and I'm not really bashing the figure because it's a good figure and all, but it's kind of the weakest of the Wacky Action Turtles. At least the 4 turtles themselves. Like I said, I don't have Splinter or Shredder, so I can't really tell you how they work. Maybe from what I've seen in reviews, I guess I may remember, but other than that, I don't know. This figure's alright. So let's put it back in action. I'm gonna grab a foot soldier real quick, which I decided to bring one out. Let's see. Let's see how well that Raphael can knock this foot soldier down. Once again, start winding him up. Ah, that didn't work. Foot soldier's like, this is a joke. You suck. You suck. I can easily kick your ass. Excuse my language, kids, but isn't that true? He probably could. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't really work too well. If you've seen the old commercials for these figures, they seem to work a little bit better in the commercials than they do, in real life. But then again, keep in mind, this is like a 24-year-old, almost 25-year-old toy, so it may not work as well now as it did, over, back in that time period. Plus, it was owned by somebody else before me, so it's probably been played with. But then again, it could have been kept as a collectible, so I don't know. Still, I must imagine the wind-up gear probably doesn't work as well as it used to. Let's try one more time, and I'm going to do it for a while. I'm going to just keep pressing the button. See if we can get it to go pretty fast. Okay, so it doesn't really work the way I want it to. Let's try something else. Maybe it's best if I hold it like this. Keep in mind, I should have done a little more research before doing this, and I did play around for a little bit before doing this review. There, let's take this off his. This review. Dang. Okay. So you know what? It doesn't work the way I want it to. I bet if I would have had this toy when I was a kid, it probably worked a lot better than it's working now. So I do apologize, guys. So, my final thoughts on this figure. The figure itself, it's alright. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, just as a display piece, it's pretty cool. The action feature, well, it sucks. At least to me it does. I'm sorry. No offense to anyone who probably had this toy and it worked for you. It probably worked better for you 25 years ago than it probably works for me now. But then again, who knows? I mean, like I said, I didn't own the toy originally when I was a kid. If I did, maybe it would work better back then. But, oh well. I still like having it in my collection. I'll try to get the belt back on because, firstly, I like the belt back on the figure. It's like, I don't know, it's like he's not wearing clothes, but he looks naked without the belt. But anyways, there you guys go. That's my review. If I can get the belt back on. Let me know what you guys thought with this figure. Do you agree with me? Is the action feature kind of crap, or did it work for you, or would you just prefer not having the feature to begin with? I mean, oh, and of course, another thing I want to mention, he does not stand up very well. You will not believe how many times I was doing this review over and over that he fell over a crap load of times. I mean, I guess it has to do with getting his arms posed in a certain way. But oh well, still a nice figure. I mean, other than the fact that his action figure don't work too well, and he doesn't stand as well, it's still alright. I mean, I like Raphael. He's my second favorite. Honestly, Leonardo, if you've seen my reviews, is my favorite. But still, nice figure, Raphael. And he doesn't want to stand up too much. But there you guys go. Thanks for watching. As always, rate, comment, subscribe for more TMNT figure reviews, wrestling, Power Rangers. Like my page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and join my Facebook group, RHC Reviews on YouTube. Links in the description to stay up to date on any more reviews I post right here on this channel. As always, I'm Revolutionary Cowboy. Rock on, keep collecting, and cowabunga!